Hello and welcome to this free mandolin lesson. Over the next 15 minutes or so, we're going to have a look at what is called the Cajun National Anthem, called Jolie Blon, and the main melody sounds a bit like this. And once we've learnt that melody, we're going to have a little discussion of all the embellishments, some that are similar to what we normally do on the mandolin, some that are slightly different that Cajun fiddle players do that we can have a try on the mandolin, because the mandolin is not normally played in Cajun, but that doesn't stop us learning the odd tune here or there. And the full Jolie Blon with all of the embellishments added will sound a bit like this. All of the tabs for this lesson are included in a free PDF which is linked in the description below, so you don't have to do any of this by ear. So we'll start with a quick look at the main melody. I'm going to fly through this and we'll have a full play through the tune at the end of the lesson. So if you don't get it first time round, don't worry, there will be another chance. So we're in the key of A, in waltz time, and the opening phrase is sort of a whole bar lead in. So that's our first 4 bars, and I'd say just try and sight read this as best you can. It's not the trickiest tune. So if we just play the first 4 bars plus the lead in, it'd be 1, 2, 3. And then the only sort of real trickiness in the A part comes here, with a 6, 6, 2, 0. So that's 6, 2, 0. 6 is always a grey area on the mandolin. Ring finger can reach it if your ring finger feels comfortable. Pinky finger can also come in and help out reach that. So just to get through this tune and give you a chance of playing it a few times, let's try the A part together. I'll put the metronome on. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And then our B part, as you could hear, the last bar of the A part in that second time bar leads us into the B part. So a little D phrase to an E. A little E arpeggio again with some 6s. So the only tricky thing, one of the great things about Cajun music is the timing is never quite what you think it's going to be when you're used to American fiddle tunes. So I'm just going to hit play again on that metronome, try and play along. I'll play it twice and keep looping back and looping back if you don't quite get the timing, because it is a little bit quirky to what we're used to. 1, 2, 3. And the last phrase of the B part takes you straight back to the A part, and it just keeps going round until the early hours of the morning. Now we can start looking at some embellishments to make that tune sort of more accurate to how a fiddle player would do it. So there's 3 techniques that I think are very similar to what we've done in other mandolin tunes, and 2 fairly different techniques that we can use that I think are interesting to try. So first of all, we've got some drone notes. A fiddle player, especially like if you take the opening phrase, that little lead in, a fiddle player would drone either the A or the E string at the same time. So loosen that right hand up and hit. Your right hand essentially plays A and E on 6 notes consecutive. That sound. And then we can start doing some slides into open strings, and you do that on the mandolin by sliding into the 7th fret. So instead of just playing O, you can slide sort of 4 to 7 and hit O at the same time. And you get that sound. So it's almost like a sound effect into the O. So if you look at the start of that 3rd bar, instead of just going O, it goes 4 to 7 and O at the same time. So you've got to go for it. It's quite quick on these slides. Don't hang around, get to that 7. The final technique that we commonly do on the mandolin is taking what is normally just 2 8th notes. So in the example of the 4th bar, the 1st bar of the 2nd line, just a C sharp and a B, a Cajun fiddle player puts in an extra B and does a hammer-on pull-off triplet, like that. So you hit the B, middle finger hammers on to the C sharp, the 4, and then flicks off back to the... So the right hand only does 1 note. So you hit the down, and then all the rest of the work is done by your middle finger. And then the 2 techniques that are not so common on a mandolin. So this whole tune is swung, you may have noticed. That's very heavily swung. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the downstrokes are longer than the upstrokes. If something is straight, the downstrokes and the upstrokes are the same length. Da, 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 1 and 2 and 3. Whereas we're 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you can think of it a few ways. It's a long downstroke and a short upstroke, or a heavy downstroke and a light upstroke. So that's swung. There's a phrase, I know them as Scotch Snaps because of how common they are in Scottish tunes, but if you switch that around so your downstroke is quite short, upstroke is quite long, you get this sound. If I was to do the whole tune in Scotch Snaps, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now, you don't do the whole tune like that, but you do throw the odd one in. So the very first note of the tune, they've added in a Scotch snap. And then the main example is, as you can see at the end of the A part, the 2nd time bar, 1 and 2 and da da da. So instead of 1 and 2, it's 1 and 2 and da. That's a Scotch, well, I know it as a Scotch snap. It might have other musical names, but it's where the downstroke is now shorter than the upstroke. And then the final technique before we play through all of this is an extension of the hammer-on pull-off triplet is a hammer-on pull-off pull-off semi-quaver. So we now want to do 4 notes with our one downstroke gives us 4 notes. At the end of the first bar, we hit a down on the F sharp, and then the middle finger hammers onto the 3, the G, pulls back off to the F sharp, and then pulls off again to the open. And you do it really quickly so you get that sound. So now I've shown you all 5 different embellishments, and there are others that we could have thrown in there. Let's just have a quick play of the A part and the B part slowly, so you can hear it slowly, and then we'll have a full play of the tune after that. And 1, 2, 3. And again. And then our B part, we're going to start the bar before the B part, so we get our Scotch snaps. from there. With the metronome, here we go. 1, 2, 3. B again. So apologies if this is all a little rushed. I wanted to get to this point in the lesson where we're now going to play Jolie Blon twice through. So we're going to do 2 A's, 2 B's, 2 A's, 2 B's, so you get 4 goes essentially at each section, and you can play either melody. If you're still working on the core melody, that's absolutely fine. It will all match up perfectly, but hopefully you'll have a chance to at least put some of the embellishments in. You could do, if you don't like some of them, just take them out. They're sort of interchangeable anyway. So here we go. I'll overdub a guitar playing the waltz rhythm. Jolie Blon, about 120 BPM. Good luck. 1, 2, 3. Back to the top. One more A. Again. So there you have a mandolin arrangement of the Cajun National Anthem, Jolie Blon. I am not in any way saying I am now a Cajun mandolin player. I just think it's really interesting to learn a tune in the style of something else and see how we can have that in our everyday playing. So I will definitely be stealing some of those Scotch Snaps. They really sort of change the rhythm of the melody and make it really interesting for a split second, and then we're back to where we used to be. And then the hammer-on, pull-off are not my favourite thing to do, so it was a good challenge to remind myself of how to play those. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. We do these free lessons every month. Head over to mandomike.com for all of the previous free lessons we've done over the last few years, and we'll see you next month.